Hello YouTube, this is Old School from WhatTheBuck.net, coming to you live from Valrico, Florida. Sorry it's been so long since my last update. Things have been very hectic, but I want to start out with a couple of announcements. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone for subscribing. We hit 200 subscribers, which is probably not much to a lot of you YouTube pros out there, but to us that's a pretty big number. We're pretty excited about it. We appreciate everyone's attention and watching what we do over here at What the Buck, and we want to continue to grow. So if you got friends out there you think would like what we're doing, please let them know. With that being said, I want to review a little bit about what's gone on at the mandatory minicamp here in Buckland. Our last show, which was last Thursday, we had two special guests, Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report and Tom Krasnicki from 1010 AM, one of the local morning radio stations here in the Tampa Bay area. And we had sort of a roundtable discussion talking about what went on at the mandatory minicamp, what's going on with the Bucks in general, and a couple of interesting things were kind of brought out. Now, some of the things have been in mainstream media. Obviously, if you're following the Bucks, you know that Aaron Sears is out. This is personal reasons. There have been people who speculate this is depression. We don't have any data that tells us anything other than that the team understands what's going on with Aaron and has approved his absence, and that's good enough for them, and so I guess it's got to be good enough for us as well. Now, in his absence, Jeremy Zuda has stepped in and has been playing quite well. In fact, there's some speculation that he's more well-suited for the zone blocking scheme than was Aaron Sears. Now, that doesn't mean we want Aaron to stay away. Hopefully he's getting things right, and we'll get back when he can. That depth is something we definitely need, but I think we're all very happy with what Zuda's been able to do. We spent some time talking a little bit about the offensive line in the roundtable, and if you want to check out that roundtable, I'll make an annotation in this video as well. It's available in our podcast for the show. The show ended up going about an hour and a half. It's available at whatthebuck.podbean.com. You can also get it at whatthebuck.net. Underneath the viewer, you can see the last show that was played. We talked a little bit about how the zone blocking scheme has been adopted by the Bucks and how the offensive line is responding, and so far our interior has been doing quite well. Davin Joseph is trimmed down by about 20 pounds. Apparently looks very cut and is moving quite well on the field. Jeff Fain has always been a little bit undersized, but he's playing very, very well in the scheme, as well as Zuda. The question becomes how Trueblood and how Penn handle it. Now, Penn was always the puffier of the two. He's obviously got a little bit of a catch-up to play, let's just say, because of his contract issues that he had. And according to Scott and Tom, he's doing that. And Trueblood has come in at a much better weight this year as well. Now, Trueblood has been heavy-footed in the past. We'll see how he's able to actually adapt to the system. But so far, the word out of camp is very, very strong. Now, when you talk about the offensive line, you sort of immediately go into the running game. We talked a little bit about what Ernest Graham's role is going to be in this offense versus a Derek Ward, who's was a third back in New York. Comes in, he's a one-cut-and-go kind of guy. We expected to see E. Graham getting the starter reps, if you can call them that. It's really going to be running back by committee, truly. But E. Graham pounded a little bit, and then D. Ward coming in as a change of pace. And then you've always got this random card of Caddy. Caddy's out running now. He's not actually doing contact drills, but if Caddy comes back the way he looked against the Oakland Raiders, despite the rest of the team sucking ass in that game, that's a nice luxury to have, as well as Clifton Smith, who we expect to see a little bit more often in the offense beyond just his special teams prowess that he demonstrated last year. We talked a little bit about the concerns we have around fullback and B.J. Askew's propensity to get injured. Right now, Jameel Cook apparently is looking good in camp. He's got his legs underneath him again. He understands the system a little bit better than he did last year. I was not impressed with Jameel last year. We'll see what that looks like once we hit training camp and then we get into the preseason. That's an area that I think we may want to upgrade at some point. Now, obviously, conversations went directly to quarterback pretty quickly. We talked about who's looking good in camp. There's been some rumors because of an article that was in the St. Pete Times that Josh Freeman's going to move up the stack. The reason that's happening is because Byron Leftwich is apparently looking like ass in camp. He's looking even more slow-footed than normal. His release is even slower than normal. He's not showing a grasp of the offense, and his passes aren't showing any sort of accuracy or touch. He's taking a lot of sacks. And essentially what Scott and Tom conveyed from their views in camp was that Luke McCown and Byron Leftwich, when Leftwich is having a bad camp, Luke isn't jumping ahead. And conversely, if Luke has a bit of a bad day, Byron isn't distancing himself. The clear pecking order right now is Luke, Byron, and then right just a half a heartbeat behind him is Josh Freeman. There was no talk at all about Josh Johnson, and that's something we're going to talk to those guys about at the next roundtable. But the thought here is if Byron doesn't dramatically turn things around, then Josh Freeman may slot into that secondary spot where he'll get more chances with the twos instead of just always playing with the threes. Now, of course, this is in non-contact drills. We don't know what this is going to translate to on the field, but that's the current state of affairs as it sits. Now, with regards to other players that people may want to know about, Barrett Root is still unhappy about his contract. I don't know that that's going to mean a hill of beans. There are about 109 linebackers currently paid more than him in the league. I think he's probably got a legitimate beef, but with the CBA status that we have right now, I don't know that the team has any need to pay him, which kind of sucks when you think about it because that was the actual thought process going into having all this cap money and not going after free agents was that we could reward the guys that have been here with us for the longest time. We talked about a number of other topics on that show. Those are the high points, though. One other comment that's come out of camp recently is that K2, Kellen Winslow, has been absolutely impressing the hell out of everybody. He's not the greatest interview. If you were out on Buccaneers.com, you saw his interview with the Behind the Flag crew. But apparently his play on the field is turning a lot of heads. And the offensive coordinator, the entire team believes he's going to be quite a mismatch if he can stay healthy and stay on the field. So that's nice. Training camp is going to be open to the public. We're hoping to get more information once we can get into training camp and see some of this stuff for ourselves. But until then, we're going to continue to do our posting. We'll be back Thursday night. I believe we're going to have a player on the show. I'm not sure which player it's going to be, but you're welcome to join over at whatthebuck.net. And like I said, if you want to catch the podcast of that show with the folks from 1010 and from the Pewter Report, feel free to do so on our website or directly at the Podbean site, which is whatthebuck.podbean.com, as well as on iTunes. Appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you guys on the next update.